from Las Vegas, Nevada for World Championship Boxing. Tonight, you'll see the man regarded by most as the best fighter in the world today, Shane Mosley, going against Australian challenger Shannon Taylor. And before that bout, heavyweights Oleg Maskaev and Lance Mount Whitaker tangle in a must-win fight for each man. Shane Mosley has fought only once before in Las Vegas. 1 year ago, he destroyed Willie Wise in a blistering performance worthy of the bright lights here. Tonight will be Shannon Taylor's second fight in the United States. No glitz or glamour for Taylor, the son and grandson of coal miners, who brings toughness and hard knocks to the table for this overwhelming assignment. One of our most frequent stopping places over the years, fabulous Caesars Palace Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, is once again the scene of World Championship Boxing tonight. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. We welcome you to this edition of World Championship Boxing. Later in the main event, you'll see Sugar Shane Mosley as he tries to continue to solidify his emerging identity as the best fighter in the world. Mosley, off his victory over Oscar De La Hoya and his destruction of Antonio Diaz, has been moved by most magazines and critics to the top of the pound-for-pound lists, ahead of Felix Trinidad and Roy Jones Jr. And it's a mark of Mosley's cachet in the sport that he's a 15-to-1 betting favorite against a good, unbeaten challenger in Shannon Taylor. And before you see that, you'll be seeing Oleg Maskaev and Lance Whitaker, two heavyweights who are both within range of title contention if they can win tonight's bout. Maskaev seemed to be on the verge of a title fight before getting knocked out in his last assignment against Kirk Johnson. Lance Whitaker is the one who seems to be closing in now, but Maskaev is more than capable of derailing his express. So let's take a look at the tail of the tape as we get ready for these two large heavyweights. Maskaev, the Kazakhstan-born, Uzbekistan-raised Russian, is 32 years old, 4 years older than Whitaker. Whitaker, at 6 feet 8 inches tall, is the tallest of the legitimate contenders in the division. Whitaker with only a 3-inch reach advantage, but outweighing Maskaev by 20 pounds, and that's an unusual assignment for Oleg, who is himself a big heavyweight. Punch stat numbers with HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant.
Remarkably similar numbers, but Maskaev has fought a better class of fighters, including Johnson, Tua, and Rahman. Jab-wise, Maskaev oddly has the more active jab. Whitaker does not fight like a big guy.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Oleg Maskaev Mount Whitaker fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
And before you watch the fight tonight, we want to remind you that as you watch both bouts, you can log on to hbo.com/boxing. Among the features there, the extremely popular live trainer audio. When we go to the corners, you get to decide which trainer you want to listen to.
There's been a haunted look in Oleg Maskaev's eyes this week. Haunted because what he did a year and a half ago to Hasim Rahman, knocking him through the ropes and knocking himself upward into the ranks of potential challengers for the championship, happened to him when Kirk Johnson first floored him with a left hook and then finished him with this volley of punches, knocking him through the ropes.
And also working with us, as always, on World Championship Boxing, two-time heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman. And George, Maskaev's experience shows us that in the heavyweight division, sometimes you eat the bear and sometimes the bear eats you, right?
Yeah, experience is the magic word tonight. He has some good experience.
And he's been on both the positive and negative ends of his experience. A knockout loss to David Tua years ago. He said to his handlers and trainers, "I'll never make that mistake again." He had actually, Larry Merchant, hurt Kirk Johnson earlier in the fight and perhaps thought that he was going to be the one who was going to knock Johnson out prior to Johnson
got a little
around.
careless. Incidentally, Jim, Maskaev opened as about an 11-5 favorite in this fight. About 15 minutes ago, the fans turned Whitaker into the favorite by about 8-5. A complete turnaround, unusual.
Oleg Maskaev's record, 20 wins, 3 losses, no draws, 15 knockouts. His big right hand is his primary weapon. So we'll find out who was right. The odds makers who installed Maskaev as the early favorite, or the bettors who by an overwhelming margin chose this man, Lance Whitaker. Whitaker lost only one fight, a fight against Lou Savarese in which he got off to a good start, failed to pace himself, tired badly down the stretch. He fought his next few fights cautiously in response to that, and since then has begun to look more aggressive, most noteworthily in his 2-round destruction of Robert Davis last October. Fighting under extreme pressure here because his 6-year-old son, Lance Whitaker Jr., is in a hospital in California battling life-threatening leukemia. And George, I have a hunch that that's going to inspire Lance to make a huge effort here tonight.
Well, in situations like that, the children generally are so courageous that you often don't even get into the old funk. You just keep your confidence going for them. And this shouldn't have any effect on it. Kids in those positions are courageous.
Yep, kids are amazing.
His trainer, Joe Goosen, says that he seems to be quietly possessed, were his words.
He's been a rising tide and a quiet one in the heavyweight division. Can Lance Whitaker become a meaningful contender for the crown? The one loss to Savarese, 18 knockout victories, and including, as I mentioned, a 2-round destruction of Robert Davis in his last fight. And now let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official pre-fight introductions.
Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight Cedric Kushner Productions, along with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser, present professional boxing for your entertainment. This first bout is presented in association with America Presents. All the bouts are sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The 3 judges assigned to ringside scoring this contest on the 10-point must system will be Dwayne Ford, Dalby Shirley, and Glenn Trowbridge. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Jay Nady. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing. This is in the heavyweight division for the WBC Continental Americas title. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trimmed with silver, and weighing in at 236 pounds. His professional record, 20 victories, including 15 knockouts with 3 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, from Tashkent, Uzbekistan, here is the challenger, Oleg Maskaev. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks and weighing in at 256 pounds. His professional record, 22 victories, including 18 knockouts with only 1 defeat. From Van Nuys, California, ladies and gentlemen, presenting the defending champion, Lance Mount Whitaker.
Claude.
Excuse me, guys. All right, do you have any questions? Obey my commands. Remember, the belly button's in line. Keep your punches up. Touch gloves now. Look back. Let's go to work. Then don't touch gloves.
Lance Whitaker
Then don't touch. Okay,
is
touch
large.
gloves. Then don't touch gloves.
He wants to be in charge, but he has to do it
Okay, cameras over the neck.
against a fighter who has been a class above him and who can punch.
Everything over the neck. Over the neck. Are we set?
Whitaker sparred with Francois Bota up in the mountains at Big Bear, California, to get himself ready for
Okay,
this.
ring the bell. Start the fight.
He says of Maskaev, I think he's an easy target, a stand-up European fighter. I worry about his left jab and his right hand, but if I back him up, I don't think he can do anything about it. So let's see who backs whom up. Two very good trainers, Joe Goosen and Bob Jackson. Two pretty well-schooled fighters. Each wants to impose his will on the other.
And Whitaker's got to make certain that he take advantage of the reach advantage. Keep this guy on the edge of your jab, right hand. Maskaev, am I saying that correctly?
Maskaev
has got to make certain he keep a circle going. You don't want to back up. You jab, move to your left. Keep moving to your left. Don't go backwards. That's the only time the reach advantage can be an advantage if you go straight back. You can circle to the left or to the right.
How many times did you fight Russians in the amateurs, George?
Can't remember.
Were there some? There were several, right?
To win the gold medal, of course.
Yeah. Did you get yourself a little bit? Did you feel like you got a little extra juice when you fought against a Russian?
In those days.
In those days, you did. Yeah.
Superpower days, you remember?
Yeah, it's different now.
It doesn't exist now.
Yep.
Whitaker's got to understand that this fella's just got knocked out. He's insecure. His courage will not be the greatest, and you don't want to give him any courage. Keep him defending himself and thinking, I may get knocked out.
But it's a relatively cautious first round so far for Lance Whitaker.
You don't want this guy to get his courage back. Good right hand.
Now Whitaker cracks across the top with the right hand.
Maskaev was beating Whitaker to the punch. Looked like he was the one going to take charge. Let's see what effect that straight right hand has.
And even when you're backing up a guy like Whitaker, you want to make sure you circle around, go around to his left. Don't just come straight to him. Make him try to find you with that left. Whitaker's using the left hand good now.
Not a particularly high contact first round for two guys who can whack. Well, Maskaev goes in and just tries to start putting his hands on Whitaker. Whitaker pops him with a counter right.
Maskaev's got to make Whitaker bend down a little bit. He's too high now. Go to the body, make him bring his head down so you don't have to tap him. Just go a straight right hand right to the target.
Watching Whitaker, I'm reminded that years ago there was a 6'10" heavyweight from California named Mike White, who never really gathered the confidence to think of himself as a serious fighter in the division. Whitaker, too, has faced a confidence-building process, but he's gotten further through it than White did and has become a bigger force.
You remember Mike White?
That's good. That was a nice round. See, I like him feeling him out like that a little bit. Get his mouthpiece out, Elon. Just take it out. Now look. Stay off the ropes, okay? Okay. Here's what I want you to do. If you're going to be stepping back a little bit, use your hook. Okay. But really, to tell you the truth, I think you ought to be stepping around and not back, okay? Keep within punching range on him. Keep using your jab. But don't give up too much ground. You got to know where the ropes are. Don't go back and sit on the ropes. You understand what I'm saying? Little Prince, come on. You head around to look at him. Head around to see what's happening. Stay off of that right hip. Heavy on the left hip. Work your hands. Hey. Seconds out.
Stay off the right hip, heavy on the left hip. What's he looking for there, George?
They probably have some kind of secret communication there. It means nothing to us. And then when you're working with fighters, you got to have that kind of communication.
One thing I did notice in the first round was that Maskaev threw more body punches than I've ever seen him throw before in a round. They think there's a big target in front of them, and they're going to go try to bring it down.
It wasn't a lights-out round for either man. Whitaker landing only 4 of 32 punches by CompuBox numbers. Maskaev 12 of 54. Maskaev seems to want to make more of a fight of it in round 2.
I think that he should stay, jab up occasionally, let him know you're in the business, Maskaev, but go to the body. Keep all the punches to the body.
Hard right hand by Whitaker momentarily wobbles Maskaev. Whitaker trying to follow up. Maskaev now throwing back. Down goes the Russian fighter.
3, 4,
And he doesn't look like he's going to get up.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And he
Fight's
didn't.
over.
A second round knockout for Lance Whitaker inches him closer to legitimate title contention. and he did it with glancing blows, showing you the kind of power that Whitaker is beginning to build in his fists.
Also, Jim, he was hit a couple of real solid punches by Maskaev, who's dented quite a few people, and you never saw Whitaker blink.
If you ask me, it's about mismanagement of a potentially good heavyweight Maskaev. You get knocked out, it hasn't been that long ago.
Right.
What are you going to match him with a big puncher like that now in his career? Now, you need to go back to learn how to manage fighters and just put them up here for money.
Fascinating question. You're suggesting that Maskaev should not have been in against a puncher in this fight.
No, you got to get his confidence back. You hit him. That wasn't a dynamic group of punches that knocked him down.
Nope, it was glancing blows.
It was just that he hasn't even got his confidence back.
Yep.
You've got to build a man's confidence back. Go back to the Joe Louis days when he was creamed by smelling. They went on a campaign building his confidence.
George, I thought the first right hand that hurt Maskaev was a pretty serious punch.
Well, let's take a look at it. Here's a look.
Maybe the others seemed not serious, but that right hand that buckled him right there.
That one right there.
That was a real punch.
And then this.
And suddenly he turned southpaw and was throwing hard punches with his right and his left. That's a big man, and a big man can sometimes compensate for mistakes with that kind of arm strength.
That kind of mismanagement.
What do you think of George's point, Larry, about a poor choice of matches for Maskaev?
Well, I think the point is a good point, but I don't know what Maskaev's alternatives were, what opportunities he had, and I think they thought that Whitaker was the kind of guy that could vault them right straight back into contention with a big knockout.
You know, 3 fights ago, you might have thought of Whitaker as a tactical, cautious fighter who wasn't that big a danger to knock you out. But the more he progresses, the more he begins to put punches together, there's a bigger and bigger effect.
Whitaker's good enough to fight for the heavyweight title right now. He's that good. So there's no knock to him. But you wonder with a guy with that kind of potential, those kind of skills, you got to campaign these guys. You got to campaign them. You just can't keep running to television every time you fight.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Vic Draculich counts to 10 and officially ends this contest at 1 minute and 3 seconds of round number 2. The winner by knockout victory, his record now 23-1, 19 KOs, and he is still the WBC Continental Americas heavyweight champion, now definitely a top-ranked heavyweight contender, Lance Mount Whitaker.
Final punch stat numbers. And you can see that it was brief. There was not a ton of punishment landed on either side. But Lance Whitaker's 8 landed punches in the second round were significant enough to knock Maskaev out. 2 right hands doing the bulk of the damage. It was a momentary explosion. Whitaker did not look dangerous to Maskaev in round 1. But in round 2, he was plenty trouble. Now let's go up to Larry Merchant with the winner.
All right, thank you, Jim, and congratulations. Congratulations, Lance. Were you looking to score an early knockout, do something sensational here tonight?
Well, I think my trainer Drew Goodson, American Zenz and HBO. Thank you for having me. I'd like to say hi to my son. I love you very much. And I had to come out and make a statement and be aggressive and, you know.
First round, he went to your body, hit you a shot on top of the head. You seem to be feeling him out. What were your thoughts going into the second round?
Well, excuse me. He's a great fighter, good fighter, strong. But you know, I kind of want to test what he had, and it really wasn't that much. And
you felt that he was vulnerable based on the fact that his last fight he was knocked out, and that you could intimidate him?
No, I don't think he was vulnerable, but I knew I'm bigger, stronger, and I got more skills, and I just come out there. I want to show the world, show the boxing world that I can be up there with the big boys.
Well, you're a big boy who can be with the big boys. Let's take a look at that big right hand that vaulted you into the book. Talk about it.
Well, right now I'm just right there, that good right hand, straight down a pipe. And I knew he was hurting, just taking my time. And, you know, these guys, man, you know, it's going to be something when I get up there. I just can't wait to get like a Lennox Lewis or, you know, Wright Randall, Black, whatever he is. And just, you know, I'm just feeling him out. I'm just pity-patting him, to tell the truth.
Why did you turn southpaw there?
Well, you know, that's the thing me and Joe does a couple times in the ring. We, you know, train and everything, and you know, try to work on those power punches.
All right, you raised the point about your son. Did this near tragedy help you to galvanize yourself, to focus yourself, to make the most of yourself because of how hard your son is fighting?
Well, the mental strength and everything. I had to come out there and just once, you know, show the world that I can be up there with the top, and you know, I love my son. I think about him all the time, but at the same time, I had to train hard and keep my mind focused on what I got to do.
Who would you like to fight next?
Lennox, everybody, anybody. I'm not dodging anybody. I just want to come out there and show the world that I can be up there and I can be heavyweight champion of the world.
There are so few American heavyweights in a division that used to be dominated by Americans. Do you feel anything about that Americans ought to be stepping up and making a big statement as heavyweights?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, you know, I can step up, everybody can step up, and everything come together.
Thank you very much, Lance. Again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jim.
All right, thanks a lot. A lot of mention of Lennox Lewis there, and you said Whitaker's ready to fight anybody. Now, when Lewis fought 6'7" Michael Grant, you predicted, totally accurately as it turned out, that Grant was the perfect target for Lewis.
Because of the height.
Yeah, because of the height. So at 6'8", would Whitaker be a perfect target for Lewis too?
I think Whitaker's got a little more savvy and a little more confidence within himself. I think he'd be a better fight.
Yeah.
Target, great, but he's got a little more on the ball than Grant had.
I agree with you. I think that he's maybe more polished at this point than Grant because of his experiences.
He brought those shots up so casually. Pop, pop, pop. Something you see the boxers do.
It reminded me of George Foreman. I've seen you knock out people with glancing blows,
yeah, but
Whitaker did something the same.
He comes off the mound, though. It's like you're a pitcher coming off the mound, Bob Gibson or somebody. This guy, he will hurt you a lot more than a George Foreman would.
Well, let's see what Oleg Maskaev has to say about it as he stands by with Larry.
All right, Jim, thank you again. Oleg, after you were stopped in the last fight, you come back against another big puncher. Were you a little bit uncertain coming into this fight?
Maybe I should take a tune-up fight before a big fight, you know, to catch my feelings, you know, to get my feelings back. So then to get back to the big fight. So
you're saying now that it might have been wiser to take an easy fight or two to reestablish yourself and get your confidence back first?
Sure. Yeah, that's right. You're right.
But did you feel that you were in a class above Whitaker and that this was an opportunity to make your way back into the heavyweight picture?
I think we're you know, the same level. You know, we belong to the same level. You know.
What will you do now?
What I'm going to do now? So I'm not going to retire anyway. I'm going to continue my boxing career. I'll take easy fight, and then we'll see what's going to happen.
Thank you very much, Oleg. Appreciate having you. All right, Jim.
All right, so Lance Whitaker takes another step closer to a possible title shot in the heavyweight division. You'll see more of the 6'8" Californian. Meanwhile, another Californian gets ready to take center stage as Sugar Shane Mosley of Pomona gets ready to come into the ring against Australian challenger Shannon Taylor. Let's look ahead to some upcoming programs on HBO. For boxing, many of the biggest and brightest stars in the sport will appear on HBO and TVKO pay-per-view in the coming months. Between now and May 26, you'll see Oscar De La Hoya on March 24, returning to fight for the first time in 8 months. He'll be taking on the dangerous and often bloody Arturo Gatti. April 7th.